who stole a car, then set it on fire alongside I-575 in Canton. The Mercedes SUV was stolen in Marietta yesterday. Drivers called 911 to report the SUV fully engulfed in flames on the side of the highway just after midnight. This happened just north of the Howell Ridge Road exit. If you know anything, Cherokee fire investigators ask that you give them a call. The manager of a popular officers used a stun gun on him when he refused to comply with commands. When it had no effect on him, an officer tackled him. Police also found a gunshot victim not far from the scene and charged Samuel with that crime as well. A news alert in
They saw the employees from the establishment run through the parking lot. So that was very alarming. So I just stepped aside just to more or less get like more clearance to make sure if I needed to call, the paramedics or anything just for assistance.
Riverdale police have not identified the victim or said if they've made any arrests. Police arrested a man accused of killing his co-worker at the Kellogg Bakery plant in Rome. It happened last night shortly before 11 o'clock at the facility off Old Lindale Road. Rome police charged Dikembe Smith with homicide. Investigators say he called 911 on himself, telling dispatchers he shot 26-year-old Keon Harper. According to police, he admitted a fight escalated and he started shooting. Atlanta police arrested a man accused of getting mad after a pickup basketball game and opened fire. An innocent bystander ended up being shot at Piedmont Park as a result. 18-year-old Artavius Alexander now faces aggravated assault charge. The victim is expected to be all right. She was shot in the hand.
Well, it seems the litmus test for what's shocking keeps changing. You've got a boy, 12 years old, carrying a weapon. Not a replica, a real gun. Excitement is what adults hope to see when children and teenagers visit Atlanta public pools. At Pittman, there was a discovery that was jarring.
When the pool opened up, a lot of folks don't know, we caught a young man with a gun. We didn't arrest him, we took the gun from him. And we took the gun from him. He handed it right over.
My son's 12, so I really don't want him to be around and stuff like that. So when I moved out the neighborhood, I moved him out the neighborhood too. These children not scared of police, so it really don't make a difference. So more presence might be a difference, but it's a 50-50 chance.
The disclosure prompts an obvious question about security, especially since in 2022, there were park crimes, including the shooting death of a teen at one of the pools. The potential danger prompted Councilman Michael Bond to push for dedicated sworn police hired off-duty to staff the large properties.
We have one active park ranger that roves throughout our system, a manager of safety. He helps with managing cameras and the installation of cameras as well as staff safety. We also have 12 security officers at each of our pools that we operate.
Justin Cutler is the Atlanta Parks Commissioner. In addition to visible security, he told council the city will deploy undercover staff at known hotspots.
Kind of a task force approach where that person will be embedded at that park for certain hours based on kind of known incidences to help quell the incidences, and then we'll shift that resource as need be.
So police gave that boy a lecture about having this weapon. Will that make any difference? Well, hopefully it will.
I doubt it.
Allowed the boy to go ahead and swim, figuring that the pool that afternoon might have been the safest place for him to be. From Northeast Atlanta, I'm Morris Diggs, Fox 5 News.
Remarkable. Morris, thanks.
Harm. He's now faced with charges of making terroristic threats. What police believe to be a hostage situation at Conyers came to a peaceful end Tuesday evening.
Just a moment ago, the subject exited the room unharmed.
This all started just after 4 Tuesday afternoon when a 911 call came in from a relative in Florida saying that 48-year-old Donovan Ingram was armed and had threatened to take his own life.
He did pose a threat to himself by saying he was going to harm himself and possibly harm his son that was inside of the room. We do believe that there was a weapon.
SWAT officers and negotiators with the Conyers Police Department responded. Others staying at the in-town suites had to be evacuated while police say they worked to talk him down in the midst of a mental health crisis.
Our negotiations team has been speaking with him since the beginning and played a huge role in this. We are very thankful that it turned out the way that it did, and our negotiations would be who we would have to give the credit to at this point.
Police say right now they aren't sure if he was armed, but searched the room for a possible weapon.
At this time, I'm unaware if there was a weapon recovered. He did come out unarmed.
Authorities tell Fox 5 while Ingram is in custody, he and his 23-year-old son are also receiving mental health evaluations. Now, it's also unclear tonight what ties Ingram may have had to this area, but police tell us that he was staying at this extended stay for several months. We're also told that he had an outstanding warrant for his arrest out of Florida. That's the latest here live tonight.
Begged their colleagues to pass changes to a curfew proposal. They say last fall's chaos at Atlantic Station that left 12-year-old Zion Charles and 15-year-old Cameron Jackson dead, and a violent graduation party shooting that killed Breasia Powell are the driving force behind changes to Atlanta's existing curfew. The council members acknowledged it has not been enforced because of police staffing shortages, but they hope this new proposal will change that.
Typically, if you are caught breaking the curfew, even though we never enforced it, there was a penalty where your parent or you could be locked up for over 90 days. And also there was a fine up to $1,000. We removed that. We included some different things because we want to help people mentally.
So we're going to further break down what that will look like. You heard Councilman Lewis say he wants to help people mentally. There will be specific programs in place, not just for kids, but also for their parents. We'll also further explain when this could go into effect when you join us for the news at 5 o'clock. Reporting at Atlanta City Hall, Alex Whitler, Fox 5 News.
There were quantities of cash. There was a large amount of drugs, as you can see. There does appear to be a collection of individuals who are engaged in some fashion. At some point in time, you begin to see an altercation, and I think at the tail end of that altercation is where shots were exchanged.
The investigation continues, but so far police have recovered several bags of fentanyl. Officers have arrested 2 people. Illinois is now the first state in the nation to place a ban on book banning.
The governor signed the bill into law yesterday. It forbids all public libraries from banning books. And if a public library should ban a book based on a, quote, partisan or doctrinal reason, they could lose state funding. The governor did not mince words when speaking on the new law.
Argument for banning books always begins with the claim that it's about protecting the children. Book bans are about censorship, marginalizing people.
Some critics of the ban say the law is politically motivated, while others say the law
That's
should have
exactly
been
what it is.
instead.
Still ahead, a traffic stop turns into a life-changing moment for an officer and a driver. How the officer's actions helped turn one man's life around.
As we look down the road over the next 24 hours, we're going to see some more clouds, we're going to see some storms, but temperatures are going to remain mild. Find out when we see some.
Who don't care for impartiality. They have been quietly, but aggressively, cultivating a 2-tiered system of justice.
That was Fox's Lauren Blanchard. Coming up in just a few minutes, we'll have a question and answer session with Blanchard with more on the ongoing investigation.
Closer to home, we have new at Piedmont Park. Gunfire wounded a woman, and Fox 5's Deidre Dukes is live at the park in Midtown with new details. Deidre?
And we learned just this afternoon that the suspect was reportedly one of the individuals caught on camera running from the crime scene yesterday afternoon. Well, tonight, he is behind bars facing aggravated assault charges. News of an arrest in the case comes the day after Fox 5 captured these images of men witnesses identified as possible suspects running from the basketball courts following a shooting at Piedmont Park. One of those men reportedly later identified as suspect Artavius Alexander. An innocent bystander was shot in the hand when an argument broke out at the basketball courts, and someone opened fire at around 6 Monday night. Medics transported the woman to an area hospital. On Tuesday, Atlanta police announced Alexander's arrest in connection with the crime. The 18-year-old was charged with aggravated assault and possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony.
The level of violence that we are seeing here in Atlanta is troubling.
Atlanta City Council member Keisha Wade says city leaders have taken several steps to address violent crime in recent years. That effort included the installation of new cameras at city parks following the murder of Catherine Jeunesse at Piedmont Park in 2021.
Cameras were placed throughout the city in all of our parks. Many of them we found them to be inoperable and not working, and we needed some upgrades, and so that has happened.
A spokesman with the mayor's office responded to news of an arrest, stating, "While this is an ongoing investigation, the safety of visitors to all our parks remains a priority." The mayor has a number of initiatives aimed at reducing gun violence, including a recent grant for citizen-safe and responsible gun ownership training and the purchasing of gun boxes to help reduce the number of illegal guns on our streets. Now, the suspect is in custody at the Fulton County Jail tonight. Police are not saying whether they plan any additional arrests in the case. We are live in Midtown. Deidre Dukes, Fox 5 News.
Deidre, thank
like someone you love. Mom, these bad men have me. Help me, help me, help me. She begged and pleaded as the phone was taken from her. A threatening and vulgar man took the call over. Listen here, I have your daughter. Arizona mom Jennifer DiStefano sharing her story about how scammers used artificial intelligence to manipulate her daughter's voice. At a Senate Judiciary hearing on Tuesday, lawmakers talked about the potential harm AI can have on humans, following an FBI warning about an uptick in sextortion cases, where criminals use the technology to create sexually explicit images that are then used to intimidate victims.
AI is a topic none of us can afford to ignore. It should be treated with the same urgency as national security, job creation, civil liberties.
Industry experts have been urging Congress to act quickly. On Tuesday, senators receiving the first of 3 briefings about how AI is used and its potential dangers. Members say it's a step in the right direction, but they won't be able to come up with a game plan overnight.
Congress is not built for speed. We do things in a deliberative fashion for a reason, so that we don't do anything rash unless we're in an emergency situation.
There has been a flurry of bipartisan bills in recent days. One of them would create a brand new agency to track AI advancements in rival countries like China, but still unclear what Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer actually plans to bring to the floor this year. In Washington, I'm Aisha Hasni, Fox News.
Senator AI's threat to human rights. He says that he's working to lead efforts to protect Georgia families from scams using AI.
This is a threat to families in Georgia and across the country. We all need to be rethinking our approach to the internet and taking precautions to protect ourselves and our families. What's out there in public is out there forever, and it can be used against us.
Senator Ossoff also emphasized the need for new laws for AI. He also says there may be a need to update criminal statutes. This to ensure that the malicious and destructive use of AI can be charged properly at the federal, state, and local levels.